Hey everybody, what's up? Blue here, coming at you with another video. This time it is based on Yo Fdda, is based on a mod creator that I did a few of the mod reviews for his mods. This time it's based on the Iron Man mod from Yo Fdda. So let's get into this. So, as I'm saying this, so there are a few models of armor. Model 1, which there's the Model 1, and then there's the Model 1 version 2. Silver Centurion, Stealth Armor, M6, which I will show you later. Damn it. Oh shit. War Machine, Model 3, and Model 2. But first, let's get on to the more simple. First, let's get on to what this is. So to craft a hammer, sticks, and iron. If I just go into this real quick. Boom, hammer, sticks, iron, chalk, that'll all be important later, obviously, and then the melted blocks, which I will show you right now. So you take the hammer, you take coal, and this will be important for, I'll show you the Model 1 first. And then you wait for this to cook up. Be careful, do not hold this in your actual hand, because it will burn you. So put this in the crafting table. Hammer right next to it. And you'll get 3 plates. Now you can make 3 things. Obviously I showed you the melted iron. You can melt gold, which will be useful for the later suits. But you cannot craft titanium into reinforced plates. Not by itself, at least. You need gold. You need melted gold. Plop these two in the crafting table together. You'll get gold titanium alloy. Make a bit more iron. And I will show you what that is for. So now, I'm just going to take all the coal out of the furnace. And just make these into 2 pieces. I think I have a bit more pieces left. I'm just gonna make a bit more iron. In here real quick. So, as we need for the Model 1, because this, again,
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scrap.
You don't need any fancy things for this. All this has a crafting recipe. Completely normal. All of this has a crafting recipe. The rest does not, because I will show you. I will show you why later. But so let's start this. How did that recipe go? Hold on. I'm already failing. this, boom, boom, and boom. Model 1. Model 1 helmet. Boom, we need a bit more iron. Luckily, I think I do not actually. I'm going to have to make more iron. Luckily, I've always been good at this. So I'm going to have to make more iron. Boom and boom. Now we got the pants. And we have to wait for the thruster. I need even more iron. As said, you don't need anything special to make this. It's just a vanilla crafting recipe, which this is what you need for this, for Model 1. As said, I have everything already set in the order you need it. You just need to surround these with metal. Don't worry about this. This is different. This will be... Now, to make the arc reactors, you need palladium. You need a transistor, which is just titanium, copper, and gold, and you'll get 3 of them. And then you need, let's see. And then you need redstone repeater, which is the normal recipe. Redstone dust, redstone torch, stone, blah, blah, blah. And finally, and then just surround it by a microcircuit. You're going to need to make a lot of these to actually make a dent in your progress. But enough of that. So let me make a bit more iron. And I think that's good. So if I really quick grab what I need. The Mark 1 repulsors. The arc reactor. Obviously all of these, fun thing about these can also be used independently from the suit. So if you right click and hold, you'll see I have a shield on me, and it will break, so be careful about the durability. And obviously you can see I can use the repulsor. Obviously it's going to require a lot more cooldown since you're using it by itself, but you can still use it all by itself. But back to this. Build this here, build this, do that. And I'm failing already. Do this and this. Boom. Chest plate. And now we need the boots, which is made, and obviously this will be kept because it's just used by durability. So you can make it without having it, like, you know. And I'll make a bit more iron because I'm going to need it. This will come in handy later. And then we need the boots, so we need 1 gunpowder, a few microcircuits, and some transistors. Ignore why I have so much gunpowder and transistors and stuff, but have that because I was never sure how much I needed. So gunpowder, microcircuits, transistors, and surround that with reinforced iron plates. Microcircuit, transistor, then gunpowder, and surround it with iron plates. And you have made your first armor. And you have officially made your first armor. Now, obviously, I have made this, obviously not in a cave, but still, point. Now we have tested out the first Iron Man suit. Obviously, you'll notice as soon as you put on the chest plate, you get full armor, but you are significantly slower. And obviously, you have no, like, the field of vision is very, very limited to what it is. So I'm gonna go in the nether and test this out because I don't want to damage anything in the lab. Obviously, the field of vision is very limited to what it is. This is lava resistant, so that is also good to know. I'm just gonna turn that off because it's very annoying me. It's annoying me right now. So what you have is you have a, first off, you look cool. And then you have, obviously, the repulsors. I have mine set to X, and then you have your missile, which you can actually fire. Let's see. And it will explode. And then you have your shield, which, again, it's not much, but if you run and jump, as you can hear, you won't be able to do it again. But if you run and jump, I'm going to go back to the nether. But if you run and jump, you will have like a height. You have a super height. Obviously you won't see it again. I'm just going to, so I can show you the shield capability better. I'm going to set this to night. Hopefully some mobs will spawn. Obviously you can see it much better in third person, but you won't be able to jump for quite some time until it recharges. And then obviously you're going to get your pulsers, your normal missile, which will destroy stuff on contact. And then that is pretty much it. And then you got your shield, obviously. If I just grab some, give me a minute. I know that this is probably really messy, but if I just grab a, I just grab in, just grab a skeleton spawner. Game mode survival. Thank God, finally. You'll notice that I don't take any damage. And the shield itself, they are shooting each other. It won't repel mobs, but it will repel arrows. Although you don't really need the shield for that. Yeah, you don't really need the shield for that though. And then you can have your missile take care of the rest, but okay, let's go show you the other models. And then it'll always land like that, all the suits. But I'm going to take this off because this thing is really heavy right now. Which, I mean, makes sense. It's like it's a huge hunk of tin. It's a huge hunk of tin, so I mean, it makes sense. It'd be really freaking heavy. But that is the Model 1. But that is the Model 1 suit. Obviously, it's very, I'm not gonna say poorly made, but it is very interestingly made. Now, onto this stuff. So let me grab the redstone torches, this earpiece, and these 2 chips. And we should also grab this as well. So now this is the suit ups. I'm going to show you this first. This is the suit up station. Obviously crafted with 4 reinforced iron plates, pistons, redstone blocks, and logic chips. To make the logic chips, you need gold ingots, blocks of redstone, and microcircuits, and you'll get 3 of those. You need 6 in total to make these. You need 6 of these in total, so you need 2. You need 2 logic chips, so you're gonna need 6 microcircuits in total. Or no, you're gonna need 8 microcircuits. I'm sorry, you're gonna need 8 microcircuits. And you'll make the suit up station, which is important for later. So I'm gonna lay this down right now. And you'll see, oh, right, I forgot to show you guys the, Hold on, let me just... this is a... yeah, I forgot to show you guys... I should really just stay creative for this. I forgot to show you guys. So if I take, for example, the... here it is. Blueprint, and if I take chalk... There we go. So, if I take... Obviously, I already have all the blueprints on the chest, but... So, if I take a empty blueprint in my hand, if I take the chalk on my left hand, so open it up, see Model 2, Model 1 version 2, Model 2, Model 3, Silver Centurion, Stealth Armor, War Machine, and AAMK1. And then the Model 6. Obviously, you click on these, they won't work because you only have the version 1. So you have to go in order. And now you have the Model 1 version 2 blueprint, which I already had, so I'm going to so now we will move on to Model 2. Obviously, you're going to need a better arc reactor. Obviously, you're going to need a better arc reactor for this. Take this, you take a fire charge, and you take our repulsors. Obviously, to you only need to make these once, the arc reactors. So if you make each arc reactor, you're pretty much golden because they won't break for every suit. It'll just drain some of the durability. It barely drains any. So to make the arc reactor, you will need arc reactor Mark 1. So obviously the Mark 1 arc reactor is only for the version 1 suit, which you already saw, the whole titanium. So you need palladium, redstone repeater, and to get palladium, obviously you will have to melt. You'll have to get a palladium block, blah blah blah, and microcircuits. That's how to make the Mark II, and then the electromagnetic generator. Obviously, you will need. Oh, let me grab this. The arc reactor. Okay, so you're gonna need to actually make a couple of these. You may have to make a couple of these, you may not, I don't know. You need iron, copper, and the first arc reactor to make an electromagnetic generator. Mark 1. And then to make the repulsors, you need the arc reactor Mark 1, transistor, microcircuit, and titanium. I do this twice because every armor is going to take 2 repulsors. So now onto this, the Stark Hollow Bench. Now to activate this, along with that, which I will show you later, requires a redstone signal. And then boom, you can power it on. Now obviously you have the hollow pen, which can be used to move the hologram. I'm not going to move it, I will show that later. But let me just, for purpose case, I'm going to just get rid of this and this because I was testing this out later. Now for these you need obviously you can run this without for example, you can run this without the AI, but these AI chips will help you a lot in the long run. So you have 2 AI choices as of now, unless Yo Fdda decides to add more AIs, which I think he will. You have Friday, and you have Jarvis. Personally, my favorite is Jarvis, but that's just me. Besides, it makes it feel more like a movie anyway. But, this will be used for attachments over here. Once he adds in attachments, I think he's going to add in attachments. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Since it is his mod, I'm just reviewing it. So let me grab the blueprint. for this mod, Model 1 version 2. You need the blueprint in here, or else it's not going to know what to do. So this is what you need, and then you just hit fabricate. Boom. Now you have Model 1 version 2. Now what's cool about these is you can send it, you can either directly equip it, or what you can do is you can send it, so you can send it to the hologram. You see? Now you have a mini hologram. So now send to station. This is what I'm talking about with the suit up station. So what you could do, send to station. And then it's now, if you click on it, it's in the station. Obviously you can manually do it, but it's much easier to do this. So now if, like, whatever AI system you're choosing to run, so for example, whatever AI system you are choosing to run, so let's go with, for example, again, this is the AI system I'm choosing to run, so Jarvis, suit me up.
Allow me to introduce myself.
Boom.
I am Jarvis, the virtual
Look how
artificial
cool this
intelligence,
is.
importing all
It's
preferences
Jarvis
from
is
home
really suiting me
interface.
up.
Systems are now fully operational.
Now, obviously, this suit is a bit, it's better than the original, but it is still, you know, the original, just gold. It is still the original model, just gold. Obviously, with the suit, now you will have, obviously, you have your repulsors. Obviously, you still have your repulsors, you have your missile. But you also have a unibeam, which... And then you also have unlimited jumps. Unlike your last armor, you have unlimited jumps. Unlike your last armor. See? Now, if we go into this, and then we do this, for example, charging up, we see a beam. That is our quote-unquote unibeam. So that is pretty much everything in terms of the Model 1. I do love this suit a bit more because it allows you to just jump whenever you want instead of, you know, charging. But I get it, because Model 1 was literally just like titanium. It was literally just a can of, like, it was literally like a tuna can, pretty much. Yeah, so this was Model 2. Version 2, I mean. This is Model 1 version 2, so we got Model 1, Model 1 version 2. Obviously, there's not much difference to it. This one's a bit sleeker, and then it's got that antenna right there. It's sleeker, but there's not much other side difference. But now we move on to... Let's do it in order. Now we move on to Model 2. So obviously with this, you will need... And then whatever armor you have, so say, like, for example, again, I take the chalk. So now I have Model 2 unlocked. So now I can move on. So I have version 1, so now obviously Model 3 doesn't work, so now I can make the Model 2 blueprint because I have that unlocked. But besides that, so now we need the thrusters. So now this is where we get into it with this. So now we have the Model 2, which then we also have the thrusters now. So the Mark 1 thrusters, obviously you're gonna need logic chips. You're gonna need a lot of logic chips, so I would recommend doing this recipe a lot. We have the thrusters, we have the repulsors, the electromagnetic generator Mark 1, and then the Mark 3 arc reactor. You heard me, not Mark 2, Mark 3. So, and then you need reinforced iron and reinforced gold. Gold at the top and then iron at the sides. And then, so, you heard me, so we have Mark 3. So now we need another star for this. So it's titanium all around. It's titanium 4 and 4. And then a redstone comparator, a transistor up in the top corner, and then 2 microcircuits. That is the Mark 3 repulsor for you. And then obviously these can be used and worn without anything else, obviously. All the parts and stuff can be used and worn without... Obviously the charge and stuff will last much longer with it being used by itself, but the parts can be used by themselves. So now we switch this out, Model 1 version 2, and then Model 2. So, gold plate. Make sure you copy it exactly like this. Arc reactor. The arc reactor always goes up in the second to the top. Then you got repulsor, repulsor, and then thruster. Boom. Model 2. Now if you do this, do this, do this, boom. Now you have the Model 2. So you can also send this to the station. And then it'll instantly be sent to the station. And then, excuse me while I put my new clothes on. I do love this animation. I love how much hard work, was actually put into this, the mod itself. Now we have a danger warning up at the corner. So, for example, and you can actually see clearer. So I'm gonna go in the Nether to test this out because I'm tired of testing stuff out in the overworld and everything getting wrecked. So now we actually have a flight. As you can see, now we actually have a thruster. Now we actually have a flight and everything. So obviously now we have an indication for our shield. And we also have a danger as well. And we can also fly like this as well. Which actually allows you a lot more control than you think. And then the danger sense, you can see it flash every single time we are in danger. Luckily, this thing's pretty neat. Obviously, again, you got your repulsors. You got your shield, obviously, which doesn't do much. And then you obviously got this now. So this we now have a smart bomb. So it will literally launch something from the compartment. For it to explode into many explosions. And then we have the unity, which is actually more powerful than the original version. Obviously it doesn't explode, but it is a bit more powerful. Now, if I could find my way out of the Nether, would be great. Okay, here we go. But yeah, that is basically all that does. Yeah, so this was the Model 2. Pretty great if you ask me, honestly. Oh god. But yeah, and then we also have, so what I should have shown you and what will be more clear out in the day, is if we do this. So press Z, you got your Unibeam. Obviously, it will do a lot of damage. Now, and then you get your smart bomb, which sends out clusters and sends out bombs for you right now. I'm gonna go do this, and then there should be... Now, if you reroute, you can also reroute power as well. So, for example, if I just go into this forest real quick, because I don't really care if this forest gets destroyed or not. This is how powerful the Unibeam would be normally. Decent. It's decent. So then we have Jarvis, and you can also reroute your power. So you can do it to the repulsors, the thrusters, or the life support. So if we do the life support, it gives you regen. You can reroute your life support. It won't do anything, not for this anyway. And then if I do, for example, Jarvis reroute power to repulsors, the repulsors are now stronger. So for example, repulsors are now much stronger. So if I do, and then the final reroute is the thrusters. Get much faster. But anyway, so that was Model 2. So that was Model 2. Overall, not one of my favorites, but decent. Not honestly one of my favorites though, but still. So now on to the next armor. Let's go over here. Model 3. Here we go. So this is where we get more and more technologically advanced. So we've got the Mark II thrusters, the electromagnetic generator Mark II, the arc reactor Mark IV or 5. I'm bad at reading Roman numerals. I'm really bad at reading Roman numerals. So again, I went over how to get gold titanium. It is, you combine melted gold and melted titanium with the hammer, and you get gold titanium. So every suit from now on, from the Model 3 onwards, will use this one. We'll use the arc reactor Mark IV. Or I could be a dummy and could be Mark 6, but I think it's Mark 4. I'm pretty sure it's Mark 4. I could be a dummy, guys. Let me know if I'm wrong. I might actually be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. You take a Model 2 and then put in Model 3. Boom. Now we have Model 3. It looks really cool. It looks really cool. So if, this I don't mind actually showing you. If I take the holo pen, I can move the hologram. So now you can see it in its full glory. Alright, now the hologram's just acting up and at the end of the table. Anyway, so now, again, suit up station. I cannot get over this animation, honestly. I love how smooth and everything this is. I love how smooth the animation is. Now this actually gives you a lot more, which I will show you in the forest. I don't want my world totally destroyed. Now this, it will give you a lot of, it'll give you different things. The heads up display, which will show you mobs, will show you everything. Well, mostly everything. And then it'll show you armor integrity. And it'll also change when you're in flight, for example. See? It'll also change when you're in flight. I'm gonna go because this place does not need to be here. So we have repulsors, obviously. This is the Mark II repulsors. So you see that sheep? Boom. You also have your missile, which does a lot more damage. for example. Boom. See? And then the missile actually will attach, you see, to whatever the target is. And then it will also tell you what AI you're running along with everything else. So you now have smart bombs, or, well, you have your cluster bomb, for example. It'll break and it'll cluster bomb. But you also have smart missiles as well. So say you're locked onto a target, or so say you have a target in mind, and it will also flash up in the corner, incoming attack. So say you have a target in mind, you can either push them away with the repulsor, or so you again have a target in mind, you can smart missile, and it will attack that target specifically. Example. Simply you launch the missiles, it'll find the nearest mob and kill it. Oh, and then we got the unibeam as well, which is normal. Which is super powerful for what this model is, honestly. And then you can also, again, you can do the same thing with all these models. You can reroute power, so if you reroute power to life support, now your chest arc is overloaded. So now your unibeam will do even more damage. See? Now your unibeam is going to do even more damage than what it would normally do. Obviously, with the chest arc overloaded, when it does end up... Obviously, it not only gives you regen, but it also makes your unibeam that much more powerful. But with the chest arc overloaded, there are also consequences when the overload dies out. Like, for example, revitalizing chest arc. So you lose most of your... You lose most of your abilities. So, as you can see, I'm pressing Z. So again, you lose most of your abilities. Like, I can't use the repulsor. I can't use the rockets or anything. You lose most of your abilities when the chest arc is overloaded, which I will show you for all the suits. But it's pretty much the same except for the concept suits. So for example, moving on, Silver Centurion, one of my favorite concept suits, if I'm being honest. Obviously, as you see, it uses the same arc reactor, so we don't need it. We don't actually need it because it uses the same arc reactor. Every armor, except for the stealth armor, uses the same arc reactor. Pretty much. So we literally just need... So once you have the Mark IV arc reactor, then you just need the repulsors, the thrusters, and everything else. And then here is the Silver Centurion. This is a concept suit, as Yo Fdda would put it. I'm just gonna put this on normally. And then obviously you get your heads up display. You got obviously what you have normally. Damn it. And then you have your flight systems. Obviously what you have normally, it's, you know, pretty normal for what this is. Again, you have the arc reactor, for example. Smart bomb, cluster bomb. Smart missiles. And then you have the unibeam as well, with which with the chest arc overloaded, again, it would be easier if I showed you now, actually. Reroute power to life support, rerouting power to chest arc. Now the chest arc is overloaded. And now we fire our Unibeam. It's much stronger. Much stronger. And now if we also reroute, so there are drawbacks to doing this, but the Jarvis will say we don't have enough power, which he's right. You don't have enough power. Once you've overloaded the chest arc, you can't overload anything else. And then once that dies off, you won't be able to do anything. Or much of anything, at least. Because once that's overloaded, you won't be able to do much of anything. But that was the Silver Centurion. So now we have the let's do this one. Yeah, let's do this. Now we have War Machine, which literally the I think the most powerful of the suits, honestly, is War Machine. Obviously, you got the minigun, you have the gold titanium alloy, and the arc reactor would go in the middle. But to craft the minigun, you need 3 reinforced iron plates and a Mark II repulsor and a dispenser, which you'll see why when I assemble it. Grab this, grab War Machine, minigun in its place, gold titanium alloy, electromagnetic generator Mark III, and Mark Thruster. Boom. War Machine. Complete opposite. So if I just drag this over. Look at the model for War Machine. It is so awesome. Then suit up station. This is just too good to not show you the actual suit up animation on, because this is one of the best suits I've ever seen. Honestly, for an Iron Man mod, this was definitely, I think, one of my favorites ever, honestly. Yo Fdda really did do a good job on this mod. Like, he did a hell of a job on this mod, really. Look at War Machine. So awesome. Like, so awesome, honestly. Obviously, you got red, and then you got your speed, you got your flight, you got the whole normal thing for War Machine, and then it's just, yeah, you got the whole normal thing for War Machine. You get your flight, you got everything you kind of have normally for War Machine, and then you have obviously your pulsers, which are red, which is a nice color. Then you get your minigun, which is cool. And you get your shield, holding V, or whatever you guys would have it as. You get your Unibeam, smart missiles, which I do not have a target right now. Because it's not actually a target. You can literally just launch your minigun, just like wherever. And then now you actually have a targeting system for War Machine, so the missiles, when you click on them, will aim for whatever's been targeted. And then obviously you got the classic Unibeam, which, again, yeah, so that is, there's a hole in my lab, but I'll fix that later. But yeah, that is classic War Machine, pretty much. That is War Machine, literally the complete opposite of, literally the complete opposite of, well, the next armor I'm going to show you, which is the stealth armor. Which for this, it actually introduces you of a new technology, retro-reflective panels. You can get into the science of it later, but the basic idea is gold titanium alloy, logic chips, and an observer. That's the basic idea. You only need, well, no, I was gonna say you only need 3 of these, but you're gonna need a lot more for what needs to be done. And then compact thrusters. So you're gonna need a compact arc reactor, a compact thrusters, and compact repulsors. Literally everything is compact for this. For this suit, everything is compact. Retro reflective panels, the compact arc reactor, and compact repulsors. Obviously the stealth armor is, compared to the rest of them, the weakest. This is the only other suit that doesn't use the Mark IV arc reactor. It uses its own compact reactor instead. This is the only suit that doesn't actually use this arc reactor. So I'd be, wary of that. So now we have the stealth armor. So now we have the stealth armor, which should be the last of the concept suits, if I'm right, which I think I am. And then you obviously have, the normal suit of elimination, which the stealth armor, for what it is, which is significantly weaker, it actually is pretty good. It's pretty cool looking, and it does have a special thing about it. First off, look at the armor itself. It's so cool. Obviously, you get your repulsor. Obviously, you get your unibeam. You don't have any missiles, which I mean makes sense because this armor isn't for war or anything. It's not like War Machine. This armor isn't like War Machine, but it does have something special about it. For example, it's so cool because, like, what Yo Fdda did with this armor is that you can barely see it, but if you look, that's how it flies. You can barely see it, but if you look, you'll see a little bit of a circle thing. It's like a compact flight. It's not like so detectable. But if you're far away, or if you're playing with a friend or something and you're far away, you will never be able to see that. Except when you're flying fast. Because I assume he wanted it to be somewhat detectable. Except when you're flying fast, it will not be detectable by someone far away. Like, it won't, like, it'll seem like you're just magically flying. Like, someone far away will not see this. Now, obviously, you got your unibeam, classic, which is not actually as powerful because you look at the damage the other unibeams did. You could tell it's not that powerful. And then you get your cloak power, which is pretty self-explanatory. This armor really doesn't have much to it except that it's literally just stealth. And this armor really doesn't have much to it. I've never tested this, but you can actually take off the armor without, putting it back. But the armor will actually stay in stealth mode. The armor will stay in stealth mode until you actually disable it. The armor itself will, which I thought was really cool. I thought was a really cool feature. The armor will stay in stealth mode until you actually disable it, which I think is a very cool thing, because the armor will stay in stealth mode. Oh, one more thing which I forgot to show you guys. You need the earpiece. And to get the earpiece, which hold on. To get the earpiece, you need literally a microcircuit and 2 iron ingots. It's a pretty easy crafting recipe, but that is the only way to communicate with Jarvis. So say if I take this off, if I say for example, let me just grab for example, let me just say grab the War Machine armor real quick. If I could get the damn helmet off the thing. For example, let me just grab the War Machine armor. Now, if I say I don't have the earpiece in right now, you can see it. It's in my inventory right now. So if I say Jarvis, suit me up, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. You need the earpiece in your curio slot for anything to happen. So for use the suit up station like that, you need the earpiece in your curious menu. So I think we're down to oh no. Then we got then we got M6 as well. Which I might as well actually show you this as well. So what you need the Model 3 helmet, and you need Stark reinforced glass for this. And you also need the compact thrusters, because it doesn't use the normal thrusters. So if you go over to any normal crafting bench, put the Model 3 helmet in, surround it with Stark reinforced glass, and then you got the vacuum sealed Mark III helmet. You may be asking, oh, Blue, what's the reinforced helmet for? Well, I'll show you. So we take the Arc Reactor Mark IV, the vacuum sealed helmet, gold titanium, compact thruster, electromagnetic generator. Oh, right. And I forgot. I forgot I needed the blueprints, or else it wouldn't work. And then M6. Boom. Now, this suit is also a concept suit and possibly an original suit. You'd have to really ask about it. But this suit is very special in its own right. Obviously, one part of it looks one way, one part of it looks another way. This suit can still fly, but it doesn't have any weapons. I mean, it does. It has a repulsor and a missile. But this suit doesn't have a unibeam or nothing. But what it does have is an oxygen level, and you can swim so fast underwater. It is insane. This is basically an underwater exploration suit, is basically what I'm getting at. Obviously, you can fly normally, but basically what this suit is just built for underwater exploration. That's what you need. That's what you need the vacuum sealed helmet for. The suit is literally just made for underwater exploration. This suit is just made for underwater exploration. Like, yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to show you with this suit. It's pretty much just, you know, the one suit that's just kind of... Actually, I don't think it is an original concept. I think it's from the comics. It's like... sorry, Mia. If I'm right, it is from the comics. I forget which one, though. I know the suit was made, but he also tries to keep these suits... Yo Fdda also tries to keep these suits very comic accurate, which... I'd say he did a pretty good job with all these suits. Honestly, I'd say he did a good job considering all these suits are pretty comic accurate. I'd say he did a pretty good job. Now, actually, onto my favorite suit ever. I'm just gonna put all this stuff in the chest, in this chest, because I'm no longer gonna need it. Now onto my favorite suit ever. Honestly, this is my favorite suit in this mod. Honestly, this is my favorite suit ever. I never expected this suit to actually be in the mod. But I'm so glad he put it in the mod, because it is so awesome. I'm so glad he put it, Yo Fdda put this suit in the mod. Because it is one hell of a suit, and it's honestly, I think, my favorite in the mod. I just need the blueprint for it, which I did. Where did I put it? No. Ah, here we go. I knew I put it somewhere. Okay, so this, boom. Armored Adventures. Do you remember the show from, do you guys remember the show Armored Adventures? God, it was such a good show. It really was. It was, look at this suit. It's so cool. It looks so accurate to the show. Now if I send this thing to the station, you'll notice it's not in the station. That's what this is for. The suit pod from the show. Now, to get the suit pod... Now, if you're an Armored Adventures fan, like me, which I cannot tell you how much that show has shaped my childhood. It shaped my childhood so much. It really did. So, to make the suit pod, you need 5 gold titanium, a computer chip, which is made by 3 microcircuits, 3 gold ingots, 1 transistor, 1 redstone dust, and 1 logic chip. And an iron door and 2 pistons. That's to get the suit pod. So to power it, just like the Star Hollow bench, you need to power it by redstone. And it opens up. Like this. But before I show you guys this, comment down below. I want you guys to comment down below. How many of you guys have seen Iron Man Armored Adventures? I'm curious. I'm just curious. Like, how many of you guys, based on the people who actually watch my channel, watch my content, and are subscribed, and actually constantly watch my content, how many people of you have actually heard or watched Iron Man Armored Adventures, the show? I'm just curious. Anyway, let me show you this. As you can see, now that it's powered, it will open up, and the animation is really cool. So now we just click on it. It looks so cool. And he even got the hood right. He even got the HUD right for it, which is so cool. This probably took Yo Fdda so long to do. This probably took him forever. This probably took Yo Fdda forever to do, honestly. I couldn't imagine putting that much time into something like this. And he even got the sounds right as well. He even got the sounds right and stuff, which is super cool. Oh, actually, there is another thing I forgot to show. If, for example, say say for example, you just, for example, because this is what you have now, because there's a few things in this suit specifically that aren't from the show, like this, the armor duplication, which if you can act like them, you can actually fool your friends, because they'll copy your name tag, they'll copy what you do, what you wear. Well, they'll copy what you're wearing. They won't copy what you're doing, but they will actually follow you, or they're supposed to. I think they're supposed to. I don't know. But one hit and they'll go away. Literally just one hit. Okay. All right. Never mind on the follow comment. They're not supposed to follow you. They're literally just supposed to stand there and just do whatever. It's meant to fool your friends. Stuff. But anyway, we got the smart bomb, obviously. Rockets. And you got the obvious chest launcher, which is more beam than anything. And then you got this, which actually it'll power you up. Lot more damage. It'll do so much more damage if you want. Now, for example, since I spotted a creeper out here somewhere. Spotted a creeper somewhere. Oh. No, not a creeper, a ghost. Or a ghost of a creeper, I guess. As said, this thing is awesome. Now, I'm pretty sure if I do this, Jarvis, reroute power, thrusters, I can reroute the power to the thrusters, and now I'm much faster. I'm so much faster, it is actually kind of blinding. I'm so much faster now. Obviously, you'll notice that I can't reroute power to anywhere else. For example, I can't reroute power to anywhere else. But you'll notice, every armor that's using the Mark IV or the Mark IV arc reactor can be recharged with a lightning bolt. Or, it's supposed to be able to anyway. Apparently the chest arc is still charging. But, my point being, but that still doesn't disable my point. You can see the repulsors are charged, you can see the thrusters are charged. Everything is pretty much supercharged. You pretty much see that everything is just supercharged, which is actually, and then obviously now everything is, obviously things are still supercharged, but you can, but that is pretty much the entire mod. Obviously, you can see now that things have slowed down, you are much slower than normal. You are much, much slower than normal. Obviously, this has been the Iron Man mod. Alright, guys. Yeah. Oops, my bad. Yeah, this has been the Iron Man mod. Honestly, one of my favorite mods I've ever seen, honestly, really. I will say, one of my favorite mods ever. Honestly, 1,000 times over, really. Yo Fdda really does amazing work. So, go subscribe to him, go support his channel, go subscribe to his channel, check out his videos. And go subscribe to my channel as well. To find more mod reviews, to find more mod showcases, custom mod adventures, all kinds of Minecraft content. You'll find all kinds of Minecraft content on this channel, so don't forget to smash the bell and strike the like button with the lightning, so we can get those up. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another video from me. Bye, guys. I'll see you later. And also, just because I'm doing this, I'm Iron Man.